Welcome to the Bourbon Van. I'm Phil.
I'm Julie. I have no idea what we're doing today.
Excellent. All right, so over the last couple of months, we have received a bunch of samples. We've bought a couple of bottles. Effectively, these are some weird variations of Irish whiskeys.
Right.
And I thought it might be fun here. It's Friday. It's the last day of Irish Whiskey Week. Just present these whiskeys to Julie, get a first impression, and see if they grow on you after a couple of sips or if they don't work for you at all. They are a little strange. Some people might think they're just perfectly normal, but to me, they hit my palate as a little unusual. And a couple of these are bottles that we own. A couple of them are sample bottles. And we're going to start here on the right side, and we'll do a blind tasting of each one of these. After you give me your thoughts on it, I'll let you know what you're sipping and where it came from.
I'm game. Let's do this.
Here we go. Glass number one, starting over here. And by the way, of course, we've got our beers because it's Irish Whiskey Week.
Ooh, this smells delicious. It kind of smells like cinnamon sugar slurry on some sort of dough. Not a donut, not quite a cinnamon roll, but something doughy.
I agree with all that.
Yeah.
A little bit of a shoe polish note here.
It is so cinnamon sugary.
A lot of flavor, that's
Yeah.
for sure.
Just a little bit of to it.
You want to sip some?
Yeah.
Cheers.
Cheers. Tastes like uncooked apple pie filling. The crisp, like if you have an apple crisp, which is in the 9x13 pan, if you're from the Midwest, and then it definitely is cinnamon sugar slurry, whatever that middle section is that you kind of like scrape out and you don't get any
Even
of
the
the crust.
crusty frosting on top, though.
Yeah.
That thin layer of vanilla frosting that gets a little crusty.
It's it's dry. Like it's almost like those baking spices, the cinnamon, the nutmeg, the whatever else you put in there. It's dry.
It's dry.
Yeah. Wow. It is flavorful though. I mean, spice flavorful. Not even spicy. Spice flavorful.
Yeah.
Sorry. If you want to know what this glass tastes like, just scoop out that middle section of the apple crisp. Throw some whatever spices you put in that apple pie mix in there. Eat it by the teaspoon. Got it.
Do you like it?
Well, I like it for like 2 sips. I'm not 100% sure that you can drink a whole glass of this.
It can be a little much.
I mean, like, it's dry. Like, I feel like I want to drink a bunch of water right now.
Go ahead.
But it's very sweet and it's very delicious. I would never, if there's a lineup of 4 and I only had 1 glass to choose from, I guarantee I'm not going to pick this one.
Okay.
But I don't, it's just different.
Well, your tasting notes, I think, are very good. What you're drinking is actually this bottle right here. It's Teeling Whiskey Explorers Series Brazilian Edition. It's a 92 proof bottle. We got that at Heathrow Airport in the duty-free shop. 12-year Irish whiskey finished in Amburana casks. Amburana oak comes from Brazil. Here's the tasting notes because I think you're going to be pretty excited here.
Nice.
On the nose, cinnamon, almond, marzipan, hot apple with hints of licorice. Did you know that they spell licorice with a Q in Ireland?
I like it.
Yeah. Palate, baked apple, vanilla, walnut, and carrot cake. Did you get any carrot cake?
Carrot cake. Well, I don't know. Those baking spices and that apple was so overpowering.
Yeah.
I only took a couple sips, so carrot cake. I would never have gotten there. I don't think.
And the finish, long and spicy. And I think that's accurate. It all feels
I
right.
still taste it.
And I think pretty good job on the tasting notes there. I'm impressed.
you.
Glass number 2.
Okay. Oh, a peaty nose to it. Could be a single malt or it's not going to be Scotch because this is Irish whiskey.
Like a dark brown sugar caramely single malt presence, peated. Yeah, I agree with all that.
I'm not sure if we cheers on that first one. Did we cheers on the first one?
We did, but we said cheers and we should say slancha.
Slancha. Ooh, went off the other end on that one. We explored the vast sweetness and baking spice section, and now we're into the smoky barrel on the other end.
Right, digging in the dirt a little bit here, I think.
Ooh, it does taste a bit dirty.
Wow, this is complex though.
It's like this is so gross, and it's not going to be gross because it tastes delicious, but it does have a peatiness to it, so it almost tastes like a campfire that's been put out, but like it's a little bit grainy but smoky and all that good
gritty
stuff.
gritty,
that gritty goodness.
camping experience, huh? There's fruitiness here though. Pears?
This flavor profile is hard for me because all I taste is smoke. Like, all I taste is that peatiness, that single maltness, if this is a single malt, but like, that's all I get. And I've had this throughout the last year where you're pulling out flavors. You said, oh, pears and stuff. And I'm like, nope, my mind just is like clouded by the smoke.
Clouded by the smoke.
Yeah.
That could be your autobiography. Do you like it though? Are you enjoying it? Can you see in a situation where you would sit and enjoy an entire glass of it?
I think it would be wonderful on a crisp, cool evening with a campfire.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, that's the mood right there.
Yeah, you don't have all your winter gear on. You're like outside with a long sleeve shirt. Like, it's really nice. Maybe have a hat on because it's cute. But it's like a nice evening, a little bit crisp air.
Yeah.
A little bit of a nice fire. That one hits the mark for that.
Agreed, yeah. Very solid whiskey, very interesting whiskey. And that's, I actually have only had a teeny tiny sip of that. So that's really, I'm experiencing this in full for the first time myself, and I'm enjoying it.
If we're going between 1 and 2, which one would I drink more often?
Yeah.
Definitely glass number 2.
I think, really?
Yeah.
The sweetness of glass number 1 was too much for you?
Too much. It's too much. It's just too much. That's how I'm gonna end it there. It's just, even for me, it's something about that dryness that is hard. Like, it was almost like a pass.
Wow. Okay. Well, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
All right. Glass number 2 is a sample that was sent to us by our friend Kathy Huey.
Thanks, Kathy.
Thank you so much, Kathy. This was Silkie, Silkie.
Nice.
Silkie Dark Irish Whiskey, 92 proof. The legendary Dark Silkie Irish Whiskey is a smoky blend of double distilled single malts and triple distilled peated single malts with soft grain whiskey created to savor in the later watches of the night.
Oh, nailed it! Boom!
Magical. Absolutely magical. Look at this. We are on day 5 of Irish Whiskey Week, and wouldn't you know it, Julie is nailing tasting notes left and right, picking out
That's
the
hilarious.
mood, picking out the attitude of these whiskeys. Quite honestly, I'm blown away.
That was funny. That's actually really... That makes me happy.
That makes you happy?
Yeah, I didn't do too bad on that one. Can only go down from here.
That's right. Are you excited about glass number 3?
I don't know where we're going to go. I'm assuming this is going to land somewhere in the middle. We went one end, and where are we going to go now?
Maybe.
You're laughing, so maybe not.
Maybe that's going to happen.
Oh, it smells like a mix of both. Ooh, it's very sweet, very cidery, but also has a hint of that single malt profile. So I'd say it's not farmy, but it's more like fieldy.
Yeah.
Like a wet field. Maybe a bit of a barrel, like a finished barrel.
Yeah. I'm getting like a vineyard.
Ooh.
Like the mustiness of a vineyard here.
Yeah.
What do you say?
Which is kind of like like maybe my field is in a vineyard.
Maybe your field is a vineyard.
Yeah. Sláinte.
Sláinte.
Huh. Very pleasant. Wow, I wasn't expecting that flavor from the nose. It took me a bit by surprise. It almost this sounds good. This is gonna be a total Julie note.
Here it comes.
It almost drinks like it's a cloud. Like it's a little bit airy and a little bit fluffy.
Okay.
The flavors are rounded but not pronounced. Mm-hmm. I didn't give you any flavor notes, but like the experience was kind of like almost like you've been lifted up, elevated, and it's just,
Yeah.
I don't know. Ooh, the finish does have a little peaty note to it, but a slight smoke, like a baby smoke on the finish.
The finish is where this one turns a little weird for me, because up front you get a really pleasant, fruity vanilla, maybe even a touch of butterscotch there with some earthiness, and then that turns to be more scotch-like, more peated, maybe even a touch of smoke on the end. There's a quiet intensity here.
Love it. Yes, because I got a lovely vanilla maybe it is a butterscotch note. You know, at the beginning, it kind of slides into the mid palate. And then the finish is really nice. Like, it's just subtle but powerful enough.
Yeah.
That's, what did you say? How did you say it?
Quiet intensity.
Yeah.
I feel like it's staring into my soul like Paul Newman.
It does make me want to talk quieter. It does. Like, it does. Like,
whatever this is, I'll keep a bottle of it around.
You should. Totally. Yes, you should. It has enough bourbon flavors that it kind of satisfies that side of my palate, but enough Irish whiskey flavors that it feels like I'm drinking something different.
Right. Officer and a gentleman here.
Oh, yeah.
I got a lot of analogies for this whiskey, but not many tasting notes.
Let's find out what this one is, because I'm really interested in this one.
You like it, right?
I do like this one.
I think you're going to be really surprised by this one. And again, this is one that I've only had a tiny splash of.
Yeah. I think the subtlety is what won me over. The other two were really brash, and this one is very subtle.
So we're back to Teeling as a brand.
Funny.
This is the Blackpitts Sauternes?
Somebody will let us know.
It's a finished Irish whiskey. Sauternes casks. I believe that's a Spanish red wine.
Oh, perfect.
Or
Yeah.
Portuguese? I don't know. Anyway, here's the tasting notes.
Okay.
An inviting nose where barbecue, smoke, and cloves are intermingled with fresh notes of butterscotch and orange peel. Did you get orange on the nose?
I don't know. It's lost in the clouds.
On the palate, a fascinating, I would agree, blend of applewood smoke, honey. I think there is honey here. And
It's a little sticky.
And allspice, married with stewed pears and fresh grilled pineapple.
Huh.
The whiskey finishes with the return of a savory smoke over a lingering wood undertone, which combines delightfully with notes of salted caramel. Well, we didn't call those notes out, but I really think that that's a good description of this whiskey now that I'm sitting here with it.
It kind of reminds me of that Scotch Malt Whiskey Society drink that had like a 400 flavors in it, but
Yeah.
it was such an intriguing drink, even though the flavor profiles weren't normally something that I would go after. And that's what this one kind of tastes like, and I still am intrigued by these.
Yeah, quiet intensity,
Yeah.
lots of complexity, beautiful flavors, but ultra cohesive at the same time. That is a very good glass of whiskey. I enjoyed the heck out of that.
Compared to 1 and 2, this is like drinks mellow,
Yeah.
but this is so much more enjoyable.
Okay.
To me, this is just every day you could take a little sip of this one.
I agree.
This one is your evening, and I'm not 100% sure where that first glass, that's a party
I
glass.
can't believe that glass number 1 is too sweet for you, because glass number 1, I want to hang out with it all the time.
Oh my gosh, it is.
I love it.
There's something about that my taste buds are like, no. Like we've gone the gamut of sweetness, and you've used up your quota.
It's like when you're playing pinball and you tilt.
Yeah.
And you go back to okay, glass number 4.
Okay.
Onto the nose.
Ooh, love it. It smells like bubble gum.
That was the quickest reaction you've ever had to the nose of a whiskey. I'm finding some honey here.
Man, it's oaky. This one smells like bourbon. This is a strong nose. A strong nose without being wild.
Sorry.
I know it smells good.
Sláinte.
Sláinte. Way more subtle than I thought that was going to be. The nose is so striking. That palate is actually a bit underwhelming, but delicious. There's like nothing. And then mid palate, there is a cidery sweetness. I think there's like apples and pears, kind of sugary mix in there. And then it kind of goes away again. I'm not sure about the finish. I'm going to have to think about the finish because it kind of came and went. And that was it. Wow. I think I was expecting such a kick.
You were looking for it.
Yeah, because that nose was so strong that I was underwhelmed. But this actually has a really wonderful balance to it.
Coats like crazy. And I do think the finish lingers here. That vanilla, honey, and maybe even that bourbon barrel oak is hanging around.
It does have a strong bourbon quality to it. If
Yeah.
this
Brown sugar and vanilla.
I'm assuming these all 4 are Irish whiskey. So
Yeah, they are.
if you you never know, you could have thrown in a rum for me and then but
I'm not Brent Pounds. I wouldn't do that to you.
I know. But This does have the most bourbon flavors of all of them.
Yeah.
There's no note in here that just like screams at you.
Yeah.
These notes are kind of all yelling, but in a very controlled way. It's wonderful. This one tastes like it's aged longer than the other ones. It has a wonderful richness. It feels like it's been put together thoughtfully.
Yeah, I wouldn't call this a beginner whiskey. I
No.
actually don't know that I would call any of these a beginner whiskey.
No. And I'm not saying that like the beginner whiskey drinkers wouldn't like this. I think
No.
the flavor profile is amazing and they would. But it's like when I started drinking, bourbon and whiskey a few years ago, I didn't appreciate what I was drinking.
Sure.
Now I can appreciate what the flavors are in here.
Yeah, this is a thoughtful whiskey that I can
Yes.
sit with for a very long time.
I like that.
A couple sips in, I'm getting just vanilla and honey over and over and over with a brown sugar that sometimes shows up on my breath.
Ooh, it's a little bit warm.
Yeah.
I just got a kick.
Yeah, this one
Did
will
you give
give
me
you
a cast strength?
maybe this
Yeah.
this one will give you a Dublin snug for
Yeah.
sure. Do you want to know what it is? Are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
And you like it?
Oh, I love it. I think it's
Yeah.
delicious, and it's probably my favorite one.
You're going to
Just-
be
yeah.
thrilled.
Oh, perfect.
Because there's a lot of this right here in Central Oregon. So
Yay!
if you're local, you got to check this one out because it's this bottle right here. Clonakilty, cask finish, barrel select, finished in cognac casks, 114.2 proof. So you
Okay.
nailed that. It's aged in bourbon casks, then finished in cognac casks. Here we go.
Is this where it gets interesting?
It is. The nose is sweet with coconut, chocolate, and cracked hazelnuts.
Okay.
Did we get any of that? I would say there's chocolate here. I didn't get any coconut, but maybe. On the palate, luscious honeydew melon.
Oh, nice.
I don't know if we said the word luscious at all, but why not?
But
I
there
think
is a
honeydew makes
nice
sense.
melony taste. Now that you say it, you can pick that out. I love reading the flavors just to kind of, if you know what you're supposed to be tasting,
Yeah.
then sometimes you can trick yourself into tasting
Well,
that.
maybe it's
but
just the power of suggestion.
Yeah.
Also, it could just be that this is a flavor profile that we're not used to with our bourbons and
Right.
ryes. Also, freshly cut hay,
okay.
which I think makes a lot of sense
Mm-hmm.
here, and toffee. This one's so subtle but also complex at the same time. It's
Yeah.
very well put together. Things aren't just sticking out for you. So it's a tricky one to get tasting notes from. Finish, rich wood spice,
Okay.
toffee, and caramel. I was nervous about this tasting today because I thought, what is she going to think about these? Two of them are peated. One of them is a cask strength finished in cognac. There's a lot of weirdness here. But I think what we discovered is if you have an open mind and you go into it
Yeah.
looking for flavor, you're going to like every single one of these. I don't think there's a bad whiskey in the bunch here. I kind of expected you to be like, oh, no, these are all terrible. Then you liked them all.
Yeah, I did. The one that I could probably not drink again is ironically the first glass.
I'm actually okay with that because I really like that one, and
I
that
wa-
means more for me.
I like the flavors as singularities, but it is so dry. Like just thinking about glass number one makes me want to drink water.
Absolutely fair. Glass number 4, if that sounded intriguing to you, the Clonakilty Trailhead Liquor here in Central Oregon has that bottle. They have a lot of them, and they're very good. And the other two, Kathy Huey sent us glass number 2, the Silkie Dark Irish, which I'd never
I
heard of
liked
before.
that one, yeah.
Absolutely delicious. Eric Gunderson, we got Gunder Struck here
Again.
with once again, he
just keeps popping up on Irish
We've
whiskey
been
night.
Gunderstruck non-stop during Irish Whiskey Week with that Teeling, Blackpitts, Sauternes cask. Everything on the table very good except for glass number 1 for Julie. She wasn't very crazy about it, but that's fine with me.
Let me have another little sip of this.
You want to take a little one? All right, let's find out.
The nose? No, I'm out.
More for me. Thank you for joining us every day throughout Irish Whiskey Week here at the Bourbon Van and from wherever we are.
To wherever you are.
Cheers.
Cheers. Happy St. Patrick's Day, everybody.